I got the Favotank today by Yocan. Now, Yocan is a company that makes a lot of dab, e-nail style electronic devices. These are devices, your dry herb devices. Favotank, excuse me, is Yocan delving into the sub-tank market. The unit ships assembled, so you receive a 0.2 ohm coil, and there's another one of those that comes in the unit. And then on top here we have this is the wickless coil that has a ceramic rod. It is, I guess I can show you, if I can get this out of here. How this works is there is a ceramic rod, and it is it looks like a pretty thick, like maybe it's 28 gauge, 26 gauge, wrapped around that ceramic rod. So I'm guessing that the e-liquid wicks onto this ceramic rod, and that this could perhaps be a good thing. They claim that it is. They claim that this is very good for flavor. The seal, there's an O-ring inside of the, I kind of like that idea, that every time you would change out the coil there would be a fresh O-ring. O-rings tend to be what would perhaps fail and cause leakage. I'm not a fan of leakage. I hate getting e-liquid on my fingers. Now, yeah, it comes with an additional tank, and these coils are rated the 0.2 ohm. That is a BVC style coil with Japanese cotton. That is the smaller one that's on the bottom. You get two of those. These are the ones that would wear out. This one up here, I'm not sure about the longevity, if it's supposed to last forever until that coil wire snaps, but the essence of it would be that the Japanese cotton would tend to become gunked up and burned over a period of a couple weeks, let's say, where this ceramic material and this top new design coil would last a lot longer because it's ceramic, it's not cotton. So this is an excellent idea in concept. The BVC style cotton coils that you get two of are listed as 0.2 ohms, and they are rated at, you're supposed to run them at 15 to 45 watts. Yeah, okay, so we're getting 0.5 ohms on this coil, and that's the coil that is supposed to be rated at 0.2 ohms. So let's take a look. Just for entertainment value, I'm going to go ahead, this video may run a bit longer than I had intended, because I am going to test these coils and see where they ohm out. Now, the pin is a brass pin. It is adjustable. It slides up and down, so if you need to get that pushed down, you can remove this bottom section and push that down to make contact. Although I'm not sure how much play that one would get, because it still has to make connection with this coil. There is ridiculous airflow on this unit. You have your choice of the single hole, the two holes, the wide mouth slot, and then the full. These dimensions are listed. If you're curious about those dimensions, let me go ahead and read them to you. It does come with instructions, which I found adequate. You know, a lot of this stuff is written by folks who English may not be their first language, but they didn't really talk anything about the coil. There was no mention of the coil, apart from reading what was written on the coil. No, which I don't think that's really the best, especially if it ships with one of these ceramic units, and you have the unit installed. It would be nice to have that information written in the manual or on the box, so for reference, if you forget that you're supposed to run that coil between 20 and 30 watts, excuse me, that might be advisable to have that information printed elsewhere. Oh, and this one is 0.25. Interesting. A lot closer to spec, or what it's supposed to be. These coils have not been fired yet. Now I'm digging out the ceramic unit, which is a little bit wider of a design. The actual unit is almost twice the size. Yeah, this is coming out at 5.8. So we have one coil that is over twice the resistance that it is rated for. So I think we'll put that one. That's the one that's shipped in the unit. We'll put that one off to the side. As far as those air hole dimensions, I had that open and I neglected to read it. It is a bottom fill tank, so you do turn the unit upside down. The single hole is 1.25 millimeter. The double would be X2, so that would be 2.5 mils. The first wide mouth, that guy is 6.5, and then that guy is 9.5. So certainly no shortage of airflow on the Yocan Favotank. Now, what did I not like about this? It reeked of glue. Yeah, it smelled like, I don't know if it's super glue. It was a very pungent chemical aroma. And then in here, on this pressed metal, around this spoked wheel section, it looks like I can see actual, I'm not so hot on that. There's no spare parts. There's no additional O-rings. It is a 3 O-ring design. There is an O-ring on a larger O-ring on both sides of the glass tank to seal the tank. Now, these O-rings they're not even the right size. They're a little bit shy. They don't completely fill the area of the seating where the tank sits. So they're a little shy, which I wasn't so hot on that. It may not be an issue, but the main thing is at the top of the chimney, there is an O-ring that lives. You can see them there. That top O-ring right there on the top, that guy. When I received this unit, I looked up in there, and the O-ring was half seated inside the threading and half out. And I carefully unscrewed that, and it's torn. It's shipped torn. Here is the O-ring. You see that? I was lucky enough to have a set of these O-rings which are almost identical. They're a little bit fatter than what came. So Yocan, if you're watching this, you need to ship replacement O-rings with these units. It's not fair to people to spend the $30 or whatever you're charging folks for this atomizer and not give them. I mean, we take these apart and clean them. Those O-rings get lost. That's just, I found adding this slightly larger O-ring, if I tighten it and leave it loose, what I would consider loose, the O-ring doesn't do that thing where it sucks itself up into the threading area. Honestly, this is just a bad design. It's not quite properly designed. I think they could have taken a little bit more time to redesign this area. If there is a problem with those O-rings getting sucked into that area and slicing themselves, I mean, they were aware of it. It says in the manual, don't over tighten. And to me, I haven't cut the living crap out of this O-ring yet. To me, I'm thinking it's going to leak. I may very well be wrong. This tank may well end up being my quote-unquote favorite new thing for a while, but
I certainly don't think that they should have released this design
with that flaw, because that is a flaw. Now let's see how much e-liquid leaks. I do have some paper towels here. I'm going to go ahead and fill this up and leave a gap. Okay, threading not the best. The air adjustment, it's sliding both ways, and it does have a loose lock, like kind of snaps. There's a lot of play in that. So I'm going to go ahead and set this on the 6mm Now this is the 0.2 ohm coil, which I am instructed to 15 to 45 watts for this coil. And we're instructed in the manual to start off low, but considering they don't even give you any spare parts.
You know, now
I'm going to want the thing to last at least a couple of months. Okay, so this is set at 10 watts. I'm going to go ahead and bring it up to 15, and we'll give it a vape. There we go. Okay, it's too airy with that 6 mils. That's... Okay, let's take her up. 40 watts. It's hot. It's hot at 40 watts. I'm going to drop that down. And, you know, and the manual, they recommend you working your way up. At 23 watts, yeah, it's working nicely. I typically vape a little bit lower wattage. I'm not into the sub-ohming just yet, as I like to try to conserve my juice. Any leaks yet? I haven't turned this sucker upside down, which that's going to be the truth being told, and I do want to go ahead and demonstrate this. I'm going to remove this glass drip tip. I'm going to turn this unit upside down, and hopefully we're not going to spill. I don't see any bubbles. It looks like that replacement O-ring that I put in is doing its job. The main point of the video was the super glue aroma, no replacement parts, and then the mismanufacture, the bad design on the top there. So it's up to you. If you don't mind not having any replacement parts at all, you think that's not going to be an issue that the gasket tears when you tighten it? Because this is loose. I typically would go another quarter turn on this if this wasn't one of my normal pieces. And the gasket that came with it was thinner, and it was completely folded in on itself. Half of that gasket was sticking out like this, like it was crimped. So it was like, wow, coming out of where it was supposed to sit around that post. Half of it went up inside of there, and the other half was going gwang, hanging down. So it would have leaked if I would have just put this thing together. If I wouldn't have noticed all the chemical aromas coming off of it. So I don't know if Favotank is in a little bit much of a hurry. Okay, now this is the Doodah coil, 20 to 30 ohms. We're at 23, which I'm just going to leave it at 23. So I'm getting that super glue taste. It's strong. So I'm wondering if that's the coil. There was definitely, that was not a good taste. I'm going to bring this down. I had it set at 20 watts. I'm going to bring it down to about 15. So yeah, it's actually at 10 watts right now. So my initial thoughts of this, like just quickly putting it together, I realized that these coils aren't broken in. But I have a tendency to really want to stay away from anything with a super glue smell to it. Is a huge no-no to me. So that's what leads me to give this product a thumbs down. If I would have been shipped a couple O-rings in there and the O-ring that was installed is properly. Also, I mean, I just don't know about that design. It doesn't seem right. If I tighten this down, the same thing happens with that O-ring. It starts getting sucked in there. So I guess you just have to kind of artfully know where to tighten that and really keep an eye on it. I tend to not like things that are very fiddly. I like to be able to just blindly tighten it till I feel it's snug and then go ahead and move on. So thank you very much to the folks at Yocan. Good luck with your Yocan Favotank. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to have some really interesting video stuff coming up soon. I had a horrible thing happen with my neck where I slept and there was a draft and I couldn't turn my head. I'm still not 100%, so thank you very much for hanging with me on this rough review. I'll see you guys soon. Should have some really cool stuff coming at you very shortly. So, peace.